New York City's police department has been alerted to the new ISIS threat. A senior leader made the threat on this video released over the weekend. Police Commissioner Bill Bratton is ordering officers to stay vigilant. The commissioner joins us this morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Other than that, how are you responding to this threat, and will you change the way that you employ your officers?
Well, as you may recall, there was a similar threat, a Twitter threat back in September. And shortly thereafter, there were a number of attacks, Canada, Australia, and also an attack here. An axe-wielding individual attacked 4 of our officers. So we take these threats very seriously. The advisory we sent out to our officers that we've been on a pretty high state of alert in any event was another reminder that this one is also very specifically directed at law enforcement personnel. So we're encouraging that officers, when they're on these fixed posts, guarding consulates offices, TV stations, that they be even more vigilant than they might ordinarily be.
This video is pretty specific about what they're asking their supporters to do, you know, to rise up and commit violence against not only officers but civilians too. What's your biggest concern?
Well, true, that there are a number of people who are in the process of being radicalized, so something like this can be the last straw to move them forward. We saw that with the individual that attacked our officers with the hatchet. Additionally, they're continually working to attract new recruits, not to go fight in Syria, as much as to attract new recruits from around the world. They're extraordinarily skilled with their public relations campaign, if you will, much more so than the traditional al-Qaeda operatives. And it's a real concern, a real concern.
So officers are being told not to sit in a car together at the same time, have one outside the car if possible, to look for people's hands when people walk up to them?
What we're actually talking about is the idea that when we have officers on these fixes, as we call them, fixed posts, that we want them to be vigilant. They're there for a purpose, to protect that location as well as to protect themselves and the public. So if both of them are sitting in the car and if they're busy texting away or not paying attention to the surrounding area, they are much more vulnerable to attack. So it's something that we continually try to drive home to our officers, that this is real, and that we need to be constantly vigilant.
How many, one is the question of how serious you take the threat, which you said you have to take it seriously. The second, how many people are you watching? How do you keep up with all the people that might be?
Well, one of the great strengths of the department is we have over 1,000 personnel assigned to our counterterrorism and intelligence areas, as well as other detectives that can be brought in. To surveil an individual on a 24-hour basis requires dozens of officers, because you don't want them to know that you're watching them. So you have to have rotating teams so that they don't get identified. It's not easy to do. It's very labor intensive. We're probably one of the few police departments in America that can do it because of the sheer size of the department.
We heard the Attorney General Eric Holder say on Face the Nation yesterday that lone wolf terrorism, extremism keeps him up at night. What about targeting these soft targets like we saw at the kosher market in Paris?
Well, let's face it, every place is a target. That there is no place that is not a potential target. So what's the old adage? You cannot protect everything. Anybody who attempts to is doomed to protect nothing. So we do prioritize. We do, through our intelligence services, to attempt to identify if there are threats, sometimes publicly made or other times covertly made, against specific locations and facilities. So right now, for example, we're kind of high up on media outlets, as you might expect, based on what happened last week.
Commissioner Bratton, thank you.
Great to be with you. Thank you.